another universe, and another suit. Here's your look at the upcoming Threezero Ultraman FigZero 1/6 scale figure. FigZero 1/6 scale Ultraman FigZero stands approximately 12.5 inches tall and is a fully articulated figure with 44 points of articulation. This collectible has detailed paint application, is constructed partially of die-cast zinc alloy and other metal parts. LED light-up features are installed in the eyes and color timer at the chest. If you're excited to see Ultron here on this channel, then give the V sign pose. Before we get a closer look, though, at the Ultraman FigZero, I'd like to thank the folks over at Threezero, who did provide this sample that we're about to have a look at. Grabbing the tape measure just to see how tall the figure stands, let's do things first in inches, taking it right not to the top of his head, but instead these side fins. After all, that's the tallest point in the figure. Factoring those in, then the Zero suit stands about 12 inches in height, or the figure's about 30 centimeters tall. Though he doesn't come included with a display stand, he more than makes up for it with the amount of accessories that Threezero pack along with him. First of which, the figure comes included with not one, but a pair of Zero Slugger Hawks. They seem to be mirrored to one another. They are sharing the same mold to one another, and they have been very nicely detailed. All of the accessories are all finished here in a nice silver metallic paint. You can see as well some additional red detailing done below. The handles in both the cases as well are matched in sort of a medium brown that they've used. And he can wield both of these in his hands. In fact, right now he has gripping hands, so I can easily put these into his hands. The hands themselves, by the way, are softer plastic, so you shouldn't have too much of an issue really to get the accessories into his hands. And though right now it's not going to be the finished look of actually these weapons, because they all can actually merge together, I just wanted to show you that they actually do fit into his hand. Being that the fact they did use softer plastic after all. But there's more of an intended purpose just for these Zero Hawks as you see right now. You can actually take the blades and divorce them from the back handles. Just slide them right off. You put these to the side. You're going to want to keep the blades and do the exact same thing on the other side. Just detach it. You can see that there is a little ravine on the inside. Hopefully you guys can actually see that. Let's just get focused in there. Yeah, there's actually like a little tiny ravine on the top of that, and that just detaches from this part of the handle. But we don't actually need these handles. We're going to put those to the side, and we're going to hold on to the blades of the sluggers, because they actually come included with these extra blade attachments. Still has a matching ravine on the one side. This little cavern slots right onto now that exposed tab and gives us a finished blade. We can do the exact same thing then on the other side. Those fit into place. And we're going to then just take these blades and we're going to put them to the side for right now at least. The figure also comes included with an adapter grip piece, which again can be wielded in his hand right now, but serves a bigger purpose, a bigger picture, which you'll see in a second. Still, you got the nice silver finish. The handle again been done in that same, again, it's kind of a dark brown, could be even more of a closer to a black. But these will also come in handy with the next accessory that we're going to be looking at. The figure comes also included with the Zero Defender, or Force Shield Generator. Again, just the amount of work and detail that they put into the pieces. These are all plastic, by the way. But the neat thing about these is that you can then take the parts and merge them all together. I guess we'll take first the field generator, and we'll attach it onto the adapter grip piece. So again, you've got this little slot on the top. That's going to fit over top the blade, and just snap it into place. Then you're going to go ahead and then take the sluggers, what's left of them at least, and you're going to slot them into the side like that, and do the exact same thing then on the other side. And then you've got this big giant weapon, which I believe the name of the weapon is the Zero Twin Hawk Defense Form. That's a bit of a mouthful. I mean, just to merge them all together and put them right next to the figure itself, it goes up to the chest of Ultraman. Pretty cool looking accessory, right? Going to put that also to the side. The figure also comes included with a bunch of swappable hands. As of right now, already mentioned, he does have with the gripping hands, but he does also come with a pair of relaxed hands, or flat hands, flat gestured hands. In all the cases, actually, the hands, just to look at one of these right now, You can see the little bit of detail work that they put down to the bottom, the little rivet points there as well. And then what you could believe as serviceable knuckles that would actually be able to bend. Though in this case, obviously, they're not going to really bend. Put those to the side. The figure also comes included with a pair of closed fists. He also comes included with a couple of gestured hands. Again, just to look at the detail work that they put to the inside of the palms. Really nice use of the silver there on the outside there as well. And then the last thing the figure comes included with as well is the V pose, the V sign pose, which is basically just a peace pose. And all of these, by the way, can easily be swapped out with the existing forearms. When you go ahead and just take the figure right now, I'm going to remove it from the forearm. You'll see that the peg stays behind. And actually, the peg is really rooted in there, so I don't have any worries that the peg is going to come detached. Of course, you want to make sure that you've got it on the right side of the hand. Let's pop that back into place. Grab it from the appropriate side. There we go. And remove that. And go ahead then and put the V pose, the V sign pose in there as well. Just attach it in place. And you can have that displayed along with the figure. The figure does also have light up functions. 2 places, in fact. The first one that we'll look at is the helmet. Just before we actually look at where the batteries go, I just want to show you the work that they put into the actual head sculpt here. Just a fantastic looking sculpted head. Again, a lot of the silver, a lot of now the crimson red comes into play here, and we've got this really vibrant looking blue. Not obviously overlooking as well the lenses of the eyes done sort of more of a translucent yellow. And then the stone of the green in the middle of his forehead. But to access the batteries, you have to remove like this part here, but you want to just really be careful because these fins are more of the thinner plastic. You want to carefully just detach the head. Again, remove it from the rest of the body, or remove at least it from the rest of the head. And then inside is your battery compartment. I've already taken the liberty of installing the AG1 batteries. Pretty easy to come by. You just have to go on and check places like Amazon, for example. You could get yourself an entire tray of them. I think you could get like a 12-pack for about $10 to $12. I unscrewed this and then put the batteries in, and then you've got the on and off switch. It only is accessible whenever you remove the top of his dome, so you're going to have to do that every single time you turn on and off the lights. But once you switch them on, you can see it illuminates not only the top of his head, but it also illuminates his eyes as well. Then to put this on, by the way, just to one last show you, the stone is translucent green plastic, and it stretches all the way through to the inside. So obviously, when this part's lighting up, it's also going to light the stone, as you can see. It doesn't illuminate as well as I would have hoped. One thing also, too, is you can see with the lenses of the eyes, they're glowing a very bright yellow. But when you're looking at it straight on, you can, though, still see the bulbs. I wish they could have actually made these a little more frosted yellow, so while they would still be able to glow, you wouldn't necessarily still see the actual lights on the insides of the eyes. Just a small point, just a small point. The other thing that actually does illuminate on this guy is the front stone, or the front activator here. What we're going to do is on the back of his body here, there's a part of his spine. And normally I would not recommend removing anybody's spine, but in this case, you're actually just going to detach it. Probably is the easiest, being that there's a gap space right here between the red and the silver. Just kind of get your finger in there and pull that away. Once again, unscrew this, add the 2 necessary AG1 batteries. And unlike the head, you don't actually have to remove this every single time. I only just removed it right now just to show you where the batteries are located. But what I like about this is whenever they get the chance to do this, it's only activated by the press of a button, literally. And you can see how well that illuminates that crystal blue. Again, to turn it off, you're only going to then press it again, and it switches off. Super easy. I wish that more companies would actually find the ways to do this without having to remove panels in order to turn an on and off a light source. Just make it a push button. It makes things so much more easier. Now, obviously, for the rest of this review, I don't want these batteries to drain, so what I will do is just turn these off right now, but we'll probably go back to having these turned on when we looked at the figure in final looks. Just once again, just to remove the head carefully. Switching that off, and then putting the domed head back in place. I love these fins, though, on the side of his head. There's a lot of detail work that they've managed to cram into this figure. It's really hard just to be able to show this all in a review and do the figure proper justice. But I love the head sculpt. The silver that they've used, not to again mention the additional black that they've added to the front of the face. A few little side black areas there. And of course, you got the nice vibrant blue there on the side. The head is going to be a little on the more limited side. I guess we can kind of talk a little bit about that right now. The head is technically on 2 ball joints. I know right now that may not seem like he's going to be limited, but he has a ball joint like right here at the top of the head, but then he has a secondary ball joint at the base of the neck. So you can move those up and down this way. But when comes to rotating the head, I've noticed it stops right there. And there seems to be something preventing the head from rotating all the way around. In fact, even just to rotate it the other way, you can't quite have the head turning any further than what it's doing right now. Again, we'll talk more about the articulation in a second. Love the use of the silver and the blue and the red that they've added to the body. Just a lot of cool details that they've added to the suit itself. Again, this is the Zero suit. Now, a lot of this is metal. The plastic is in the arms, or at least the forearm area. There seems as well to be plastic possibly in the legs. But when it comes to like the thighs, for example, the torso, more importantly, it seems to be all of that metal makeup. So you feel this right away when you're taking the figure out of the packaging. There's a lot of weight to him, despite what seems to be a small frame figure. So again, really like the silver that they've added to this. One thing that's also noticed on my figure is the kneecap. This one kneecap isn't so bad. The joint still seems tight. This other side, unfortunately, my kneecap, at least the one that was provided to me, is a little on the more looser side. I wonder if I can actually go in there and fix it. Other than that little hiccup, I really like the way that this guy turned out. Okay, so let's talk about the articulation here for Ultraman Zero suit. His head, again, rotates back and forth, but it only rotates that far. I mean, right there, I can feel there's resistance, so I'm not going to push any further past that point. And the head also rotates this way. That's it. The head, however, though, does allow the head to look down. It can look up, and you can rock it back and forth. Just be careful of the fins on the side of his helmet. In addition to that, the figure also does have a ball joint at the base of the neck, so that allows a lower reach, not only higher up, but you can also have the head looking down quite far down too. The upper torso is on a ball joint, so you can rotate it all the way around. The lower torso is also on a ball joint, but you just want to be careful of this part right here. This lip of plastic does stick out from the body that's underneath it. If you are rotating it, you will want to be careful. They even say this in the instructions. Be careful of this because you don't want to chip the paint, and you don't want to break the little lips of plastic that stick up from the waist. Just be careful of those. The shoulder pads on Ultron here, Ultraman, do hinge out. So that allows for a little more of a shoulder reach. So you can actually bring those arms out. Because the shoulders hinge as well as they do, you can bring Ultraman's arms at about 90-degree angle. Well, give or take. You can also as well rotate the arms all the way around. The figure also does have a socketed joint on the shoulders itself, so you can actually move the arms a little bit more inward and move them outward as well. There's also a bicep swivel on this figure, a double hinge on the elbow, like the fact that they included that, and a rotation in the hand attaches by the peg we've already looked at earlier. Bring those shoulders back in for a second. The legs themselves do swivel on their own already, but what you can also do as well is drop the legs down. It essentially sits on a ball peg, and you can see right now it's posted on the inside cavity of his lower torso. That allows the leg to hinge down, but then it allows the leg to reach further forward that it wouldn't normally be able to do it otherwise, if not for the fact that that could drop down. It looks, granted, a little awkward like this, so of course when you're finished posing in the pose that you want it, just make sure you bring the legs back up. And they may creak and squeak a little bit as you're doing it. The knees are on a double hinge joint, similar to those of the elbows. Again, I got a little bit of a looseness there in the one kneecap. The feet also move up and down this way. And there's these flaps that are on independent hinges. So as you're rotating the feet forward, you can see the front plate moves along with it. There's an ankle pivot also as well. And there is also toe articulation. Although every time I move the toe, I always find myself clipping against these front guards, these calf guards that he has. You just want to be careful that you don't break the hinge in the process. Overall, it's a great looking figure. If you're into Ultraman, that is, I think they've done a really great job here on the Zero suit. One thing I also really like as well is that they gave you the option to merge his weapon together, which we'll probably bring back here in final looks. But just one last time, show you guys what the weapon looks like. I'm not really sure how I would decide to display this, whether I would actually want to have the individual weapons broken up. In the beginning of the review, of course, I did start things off with the Zero's Slugger Hawk. But I kind of like the idea of actually being able to merge everything together and having that displayed with the figure instead. Great looking figure, though. Good bit of weight to him as well. I wasn't expecting him to be as heavy as he was. And like they've delivered in all the times before, Threezero have really painted this guy to be a great looking piece if you eventually have the chance to pick him up. For those looking to get their hands on the Ultraman Suit Zero and want to know the 411 at least of what the price is going for, over on their website, Threezero are offering up the Suit Zero at $149. That is correct. $149 for a figure that's mostly made of metal, cool to the touch and weighted right away when you take him out of the packaging. Can't believe that this guy is selling for $149. The fact that he comes included with light-up functions, swappable hands, and swappable weapons. Of course, right now I've got them actually displayed in the Zero Twin Hawk defense form, which I think is the name, once you've actually taken all those weapons and combined them together. $149. I can't believe, again, that they're offering him for that price point. If you are certainly a fan of Ultraman in all of his forms and all of his suits, specifically maybe even the Zero suit, definitely would be recommending picking this guy up if you get the chance. Again, I can provide the link down below in the video description if you guys are interested to get your hands on the Ultraman Suit Zero. Once again, a big thank you to the folks over at Threezero that did provide the sample of the Suit Zero Ultraman. We can have a look at this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, why don't you hit it with a like. If you're loving the content you're seeing and do want to certainly stick around for more Threezero reviews, making sure you're not missing out on a moment, hit that subscribe button down below and turn on the bell notification. And also, popping up at the very end of this video will be a playlist of other Threezero things that I've looked at over the years, with many more to follow. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.